Hey everybody, welcome to the exclusive channel members August live stream. That's awesome to be here. All right. So tonight we're going to play with, well, you guys voted for it. We're going to actually play with a tier list. And that's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see how that is going to work out. Hopefully we don't have any technical difficulties as things are setting up. I did test a few things before I started this, and I'm just making sure here. One last little thing here. All right, perfect. I think everything is going as planned. All right, so for those of you who have never seen a tier list before, this is a tier list. So we're going to take a look at some Canadian stocks, and we're going to basically sort them all out here tonight. So the way a tier list works is you've got all of your normal, and I'll just highlight them here, all of your normal grades like in school. So A, B, C, D, and of course F, which is your fail. We will have at least one that fails, I'm sure of it. Now this S at the top, that's what we call the God tier. So we shouldn't see too many going into that S category. So God tier basically means that it's like taking somebody who has a university degree and sticking them in primary. That's how well that God tier kind of will do. All right. Now, I don't know how many of you folks will be here live tonight because this is brand new schedule when it comes to the channel member exclusive live streams. But if you are, definitely hit me up in chat. I can answer and I can take care of. I can see your chats now, which is beautiful. Those of you who are seeing this on the replay, which is probably going to be most of you, feel free to hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you agree with where we rank these tonight. If you don't, maybe there's a company you think that I should have done that I've missed. Obviously, if you're here, you can throw up the name of a company once we get towards the end here, and we'll take care of that if we've missed it. So we're going to start really, really simply. I thought about doing this two ways. I thought about, do I want to go with all the logos? The logos are nice. They look kind of cool. But here's the downside. With the logo, it doesn't always tell you which stock it is, especially if you're not familiar with a company's logo. So I just thought, let's go with the tickers. Because everybody knows what the ticker is. And let's say I throw something up in God territory, and you're like, oh my God, what is the ticker for that one? I want to check it out. Well, hence the reason we're going with tickers. So we're going to start off with good old Enbridge. Enbridge, of course, definitely a huge company within the Canadian utility energy sector. They're a massive company. They're definitely not God tier. And this is the whole thing. So we got Enbridge here. We're just going to grab Enbridge. We're going to bring them up here. Now, I'm torn between A and B right now. So I'm going to put them right on the border initially. So here's the thing with Enbridge. Enbridge does have a lot of debt. And I think for me, that's going to be the deciding factor for them. With the energy sector having that big boom last year, I would have liked to have seen more debt come off of Enbridge. But Enbridge does have a really nice dividend. So they have that going for them. But for now, I'm going to put them in a B tier. So we're going to start with B tier. I will shrink some of these down as we go if I need to make some more room. But for now, we're going to drop Enbridge, our first stock of the night, as a B tier company. Keep in mind, B is fantastic. For me, anything in A, B, and of course the God tier are definitely companies I would not mind having in my portfolio. Once we get into the CDs, then it's going to be a little bit more hit and miss whether or not I want to invest in them. And anything in the F tier, I'm probably not going to throw into my portfolio. So, and here's a beautiful thing. Just to show you down below, I have all of these other ones as well. So I can grab, for example, this and just sort of bring it up here. And I'll just do that as we empty out spaces, as we bring all of these companies up. Let's move. I dragged Dollarama up, but yeah, let's do Dollarama while we have them up here. Dollarama is a recession-proof stock. I love them for that reason. When times are tough, people will shop at places that, well, give them a bit of a discount. That's what Dollarama does. So, Dollarama, I would say they're an A. I would put them in A. They have done well through the pandemic and the bear market. So I would say Dollarama, our first solid A of the night. All right. Let's take a look. Well, let's move to our next one. So Fortis. Fortis, I love Fortis. You guys know I love Fortis. Fortis was the first stock that I have ever bought. They are based out of Newfoundland. They are a utility. They've also got their fingers into renewables. They have expanded right across North America. They're a big company. They're well managed. They don't have, for example, with Enbridge, they don't have as high of a dividend. Their dividend is actually 4.22%. But yeah, so for me, Fortis is an A. It's still an A. I'm going to drop them in there. So we'll drop Fortis into our A tier. All right. I like that. All right. Let's move over to, we're going to do BAM next, but I'm going to bring a couple of things up here. We'll bring up Shopify. Oh, and we're going to bring up Pizza because that's actually tomorrow's video, which is kind of cool. All right, but let's do BAM first. So Brookfield Asset Management. So of course, recently last year, the old Brookfield Asset Management split into Brookfield Asset Management, the new one, and Brookfield Corporation, BN. I think BN is on here as well. I really like Brookfield Asset Management. They are basically, they've been loaded up, kind of heavy loaded with the premium assets within the Brookfield system. So they are designed to be a premium stock. And my God, I really see a lot of potential in Brookfield Asset Management. I know a lot of people like Brookfield Asset Management. So this is definitely one to watch. And you know what? They're very close to being godlike. I'm going to say I'm putting them on the line. I'm going to put them on the line between A and S. So yes, I can break the rules and I can put something halfway between one or the other. Why not? Maybe I'll change my mind before we're finished. But for now, I think BAM is it's not a solid God and it's not a solid A. It's like an A on the way to God tier, I guess. That's the way to call it. I'm going to bring CTC up here, and I'm just going to keep on backfilling as we go. Let's look at MFC. So Manulife Financial. They are one of our big three insurance companies. I definitely do like them. I think they have a lot of potential. Now and this is one of the neat things about them, is they have made their way into China. So I think that's going to be really, really good for them. But the problem, I think, is that with climate change, with a lot of the climate disasters we're seeing, I see that as not being a good thing for a lot of the insurance agencies. I see that they could be paying out a lot more than normal. So for that reason, I would have put them as an A, but I'm going to drop them down to a B. So Manulife Financial, will throw those in as a solid B stock. Okay, let's get Shopify out of the way. Shopify is one of Canada's big tech companies. I definitely do love Shopify. I think they've done a really good job, but the problem is the model that they created, it's easy to emulate. There's more people now getting into a lot of that space. So for that reason, they're not as prominent as they were. Also, a lot of the money that got popped into Shopify during the pandemic was because people were using online platforms a lot more. So some people are staying there, but some people are moving away. So we've seen a lot of pain for Shopify, but it is still a really solid company. And yeah, I would give it a B. I will give Shopify a B. So as you can see, we're running out of space really quickly. So one thing I can do here is I can just shrink some of these up here as we go. So, and that's what we'll do. We'll just, anytime we get really crowded in any one space, I'll just shrink a few up and we'll just push them off to the side. All right. So that's Shopify. Pizza. So Pizza Royalty Company. We're doing a deep dive on them tomorrow. I love my royalty companies. I will not back down on that. They have a solid, Pizza has a solid dividend. They have a very good growth track record. They don't have a lot of debt, which is something I really, really love about them. So what I'm going to say with Pizza, I'm going to throw it right up here. I'm going to put them out. I'm going to give them an A tier. I really like Pizza. All right. All right. So now that we got 3, anytime we get 3, that's what we're going to do. We're just going to shrink it up a little bit. So there we go. We'll shrink up the 3 that we have there. I'm going to just move BAM over here towards the end. Just that way there, it doesn't get in the way and block being able to see some of the other stuff that we have. All right. All right. Now, let's go over here to, we'll go to CDC, so Canadian Tire. I do like Canadian Tire. I like the way, I've always thought it's been a solid business. There's a certain level of Canadiana surrounding Canadian Tire. They're a little bit of a Canadian staple. So I think they're always going to do well. I don't think they're an A tier though. I would say they're I'll give them a C tier. So yeah, Canadian Tire, we will give them a C tier. All right. Let's see here. Let's grab Bank of Nova Scotia. We'll do our first bank. So here's the beautiful thing. All of the big 6 are going to do well in this list. They do have a lot of pain in front of them, especially with interest rates going up, people having issues with mortgages, or they're expecting a lot of defaults. Now, they are preparing for that. They are putting money aside for that. They're down right now. A lot of the banks are really, really down. So Bank of Nova Scotia is one of these ones that you can get an absolutely fantastic you can get a really, 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 really good dividend rate on them because their price is so low. So for that reason, I'm going to put Bank of Nova Scotia as another B tier. So there we go. Now, right now, it looks like we're getting a lot more Bs than anything else. Let's grab CNR. I love CNR. CNR is one of my favorite stocks. This is a company. They have a history of growth. They are a foundation stock, a circle the wagon stock. They don't have a great dividend. I think their dividend is slightly more than 2%, but not by much. Sort of like, I would almost just call it 2% because it's that close to being, it's basically 2% and a fraction. They are recession proof. They're part of the supply chain. So they are a fantastic company and they will get the first. They're going to get the first God tier. I will give CNR a God tier status. Holy banana bread. We've done it. They get the God tier. This is awesome. All right. So that, of course, is CNR. Now, let me see what else we have here. We got BCE. So Bell. Well, let's do them. They're one of the big 3. I'm not very high up currently on our telecommunications, only because right now they don't have anything really big and exciting on the horizon. People are not looking to be buying new phones, especially with the economy being tight. So a lot of their income model, I think, is in trouble. Plus, with the whole merger between Shaw and Rogers, we got the whole Freedom part being moved over to Quebecor, and they're now looking at doing national plans. So I think there's going to be some pain for the big 3. I still think they're blue chip. I still think they're great stocks. But right now, unfortunately, Bell is going to be our first C tier of the night. Just for some of the reasons that I mentioned here. All right. Let's take a look at, let's do our next bank. So TD Bank. Of the banks, TD is positioned a little bit better. They've got deeper pockets. They're still going to face a lot of the same pain that the Bank of Nova Scotia does, but I think they're going to be able to handle it a little bit better. And for that reason, instead of a B tier, I'm going to move them up here into an A tier for a Toronto Dominion Bank. So yay, Toronto Dominion Bank. Okay. Whew, we're slowly getting through. All right. Oh, God, Algonquin. All right. So Algonquin, I just recently did a deep dive on them. Whew, they have had quite a year. They've lost about $5 billion in their market cap. They've almost cut their dividend in half, and now they're going to sell off a big chunk of their business. Basically, they're going to become only a utility, mostly a regulated utility company. So right now, this is one I just can't. I just can't get behind Algonquin right now. I'm not saying that if you're holding Algonquin that you're in trouble. I think that there's a chance they could turn around and, maybe something could be good coming out of it. But right now, I don't think so. I think there's a lot more pain still for Algonquin until they get things sorted out. Now, after they've sold off those assets, after they settled into being a utility company, maybe things will turn around for them. But right now, no. Right now, they're just not. All right. All right. Ah, do we want to do FRU? We could. All right, let me just see something here. So FRU is freehold royalties. Another one of the royalties. I do hold a good amount of FRU. I do like them. Now they are in the oil industry, so they are solid. I think they're going to do well as energy begins to resurge in the fall. Now, I know that my first royalty with Pizza was an A. FRU, just because of the volatility, I'm going to put them in as at B tier because I still think they're a good buy. I think they're going to do well. They're a good source of dividends for your portfolio, but we got some issues there when it comes to oil. So for now, and whoops. Let's not start moving around the whole structure of this thing. All right, let's grab these and we're going to shrink these ones down. And we're going to move these right under here. There we go. There we go. So now we got 6 B level. They're definitely leading the way when it comes to this whole thing. All right, now I'm just going to drag a few of these over here. CP, CNQ, LNT. The camera was kind of blocking them, so I had to bend over to see them. We're going to bring up a few others. We'll bring up TOU. We'll bring up TRP. We'll bring up CU. We'll bring up BN. All right, there we go. We got a few more to work with. So CP. So CPKS Rail. CP has been, of course, another staple of the Canadian rail. And I love this company. I love both of our rail companies. With their purchase of Kansas City Southern, they're now the only rail company in North America to have access to Canada, the US, and Mexico. This is huge. I think CP is going to do really, really well. Now, they're not going to be God tier, but I do think they're definitely a strong A tier. I even think that in the midterm, CP has a chance of doing a little bit better than CNR. But I think long term, CNR, the fact that they have all of that access to the resource sector, to all of the northern parts of Canada where all the mines are, I think that's kind of the deciding point. And CNR also does have access right down to the Gulf of Mexico. And they're one of the world's largest railroad systems, not just the biggest one in Canada. They're one of the biggest in the world. So definitely a huge one. All right. Canadian Natural Resources. So CNQ. They are oil and natural gas. But here's the beautiful thing. They have a good presence in the West because that's where they basically do all of the pumping. Mostly Alberta, a little bit of BC. They've also got some stuff in the North Sea. They've also got some stuff in Africa, some pumping there as well. They have done really, really well. They have leveraged the boom really, really well. And when it comes to the oil slump last year, they handled that really, really well too. So CNQ is definitely, they have this track record. There's no way they're not an A stock. And here's a funny thing. you know what? I'm going to put them on the line because they're really, really good. So I'm going to put them on that line between A and God tier because I think that they're really, really close. Now, this is kind of cool. Now, I know there are some people watching, but I haven't seen any comments yet. So maybe I don't have things worked out. But if you're one of the people watching, just quickly say hi in the chat so that I know this is working. It should be working, but there could be something funky going on that I am unaware of. So let me take a look here and see. All right, let's go over to Torlamine. Torlamine is another one of our big oil companies. They have done well through the oil boom. They have done okay in the slump. Now they have slumped a little bit, but they managed their money really well, and they're still really, really flush with cash. So this year, they have brought out a whole bunch of special dividends. So 4 special dividends plus their 4 regular dividends. A matter of fact, I think the 14th of this month of August was the ex-dividend day for their special dividend. It's like $1 a share bonus, just $1 a share bonus money. Nice. So that's going to come out. I don't know the exact payment date. Joe is in the house watching. Awesome. There we go. I know that it's working. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. So TOU, so Torlamine, I do love them. I'm in there. I'm just going to put them with a B for now, only because there's a lot of volatility when it comes. But you know what? I'm going to go halfway between A and B. I'm going to do the same thing I've done between A and the God tier. Because I do love Torlamine, and I do think that they have done really, really well. All right. Good old TELUS. All right. So TELUS, when it comes to our, I actually want to do, let me just scroll down here. I'm going to pull up Rogers too. I want to do both of these together so I can talk about both at the same time. So when it does come to a Canadian telecommunication system, I think TELUS has the legs up on the other two, even though Rogers is a great company, but they have they've just finished a merger. I kind of feel like they all belong in the C category. I will put Rogers in the C category, but I still think TELUS is just a little bit better positioned. And I'm going to put them on the half. I can't give them a full B, but I will put them here on the line. Good old TELUS. The biggest problem with the big 3 Canadian telecommunications is simply that there's a lot of debt. So if you're not comfortable with that debt, you don't have a lot of options, at least in the Canadian market. Now, there are some better options in the US market, and we'll talk about that maybe in a future one. Maybe in a future one, we might, if you guys vote it, we could be doing this for the American companies. Who knows? This is kind of fun. So I'm pretty much game for anything. Canadian Utilities. Let's just do these guys. Canadian Utilities is Canada's only dividend king. So meaning they have increased their dividend for 50 years in a row. So consecutive years, 50 consecutive years. So, you know, they've got that track record. They are a utility company. They're part of the ATCO group. So ATCO is another ticker that you can look into. I don't have ATCO on this list, but I would put CU in at the B level. I love them. I don't think they ever will cut their dividend. I think they will continue to raise it because right now they are the only dividend king. Fortis, though, up in the A tier, they're less than a year away from becoming our second dividend king. So it's bragging rights for these guys. All right, so I'm going to grab BN. So I know that I've got BAM on the line, and here's the thing. Brookfield Corporation by itself is definitely a solid A. I'm going to bring them over here, and let's just shrink these guys up a little bit. There we go. And we'll just drag them over here. So they are solid A. So Brookfield Corporation, BAM is supposed to be premium. You know what? And I said this earlier. I said I may change my mind, and I'm gonna put them God tier. Let's just go. Let's just do it. I'm not going to change my mind with CNQ, but I am with Brookfield Asset Management. I do love that company. All right, L is for Loblaws. So our three big companies, so Loblaws, Metro, Sobeys, they've been doing well with inflation, with prices going up. They've been making record profits. There's been controversy around that, of course, but nonetheless, if you're investing in Loblaws, there's money to be made. They've been doing well. I would give them a solid B level. Yeah. All right. Oh God. TRP, just what we need. All right. The PC Energy, I actually said when I did the deep dive on them, I said that they were very similar, but perhaps not quite as good as Enbridge. And I still believe that, even though they are looking at doing a sort of the Brookfield Asset Management splitting into a new TRP, as well as spinning off their renewables. And basically renewables and natural gas is going to go into their TRP, and then they'll have a brand new one for their oil side. So it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. However, Enbridge was a solid B because they didn't have as many issues. So we're going to put these, we'll put them in at a C. We'll give them a C. So, but I think they could potentially go higher. I think once this sorts out, what we're seeing may very well go a little bit higher. All right, well, I'm just going to scroll up here. We're going to pull a few of these up here. All right, Nutrien. All right. There we go. We have a few, and I'm just gonna drag all of these ones over here to the other side. Bring this over here, and we got those to bring up. Okay, there we go. We got a whole new list of them to come in. Air Canada. Air Canada, I mean, right now they're at a point where they have negative shareholder equity, and I really, 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 really hate that. But they are slated to become profitable within 3 years. Now, so is Algonquin. But the problem is with Air Canada is I don't think they're allowed to fail. I don't think we could ever let them fail. Right now, they are the flag carrier for Canada. So that gives them a little bit of status. So I think if things got really bad, as much as people say, well, we're not going to bail out the airlines, we all know that that's what governments do. So I'm going to give them a D. I'm going to put Air Canada as a solid D. I think if things keep going the way they are, if we were to do this a year from now, they may even move up to a C at that point. Air Canada. All right, Nutrien. Nutrien has done well. They had a huge surge at the beginning of the Russia war with Ukraine because, a lot of the things that Nutrien produces are the things that Ukraine produce, especially the fertilizer. So there's a huge desire for their product. And even if the war in Ukraine were to end, I think Nutrien will still have a big role in that. So when it comes to Nutrien, I'll give them a solid C. I'll give them, actually, you know what? I'm going to give them a B. I'll give Nutrien a B, and let's shrink those guys down. There we go. Just bring them over like this. There we go. We're slowly filling up here. We'll do Barrick Gold next. So Barrick Gold is, once again, they have a lot of mines. They basically, they mine gold. I think gold is important. And right now, as long as this economy keeps on fluttering like this, that is good for the gold sector. As much as people would love to say that Bitcoin is a store of, a store of value, or, a hedge against inflation or things like that. Well, gold is. Gold absolutely is. Bitcoin wants to be, and Bitcoin's not there yet, but gold is. So when it comes to Barrick, the only problem is I find their track record is not as good as I would like to see for a really upper tier, but I will give them a C tier. Let me just shrink these guys here down. There we go. We'll bring Barrett Gold over here a little bit. All right. All right. Now, let's see here. TRI, that is Reuters, so Thomas Reuters. They're a big news. If you're reading the news, maybe not so much in Canada right now, since a lot of our a lot of our social media is blocking it. But a lot of news stories will come from either Associated Press or Reuters. Reuters at one point was bought by a Canadian company, so it is Canadian. It has a half decent track record. I do like the stock. I know it's not an exciting stock though, but it is a solid, and I'll give it a C. It is a solid C level for sure. Let's talk about Alimentation Couche-Tard. This is another good stock. They're a lot like Dollarama in that sense that they're very recession proof. They have a lot of convenience stores. If you've seen the Circle K, or I think there's one called Bigfoot down in the US that they do. So Alimentation Couche-Tard, they've got a track record of growing, and I think they can do well in a recession. So they're definitely good. I kind of just like, you know what? I'm going to go on the line again. I'm going on the line again. It's like I want to give them God tier, but I just can't. And I think that they are better than A tier, so we'll leave them at that. Okay, EQB, that is Equitable Bank. So they are an online bank, no fees, half decent rates, very friendly to use. I use it. I do like them. And they are they're managed well. So they're not, but here's the thing, they're not big six. So this is the thing. When you got banking issues, I get a little bit worried if something is not big six. So I'm going to put them in B. But I think that as EQ Bank continues to develop, offer more products, I think they're going to move to A. Probably, I bet you a year from now, if we did this again, I might move that into an A tier. But for now, we're going to have them in a B tier. All right, SLF is Sun Life Financial. Very much one of the other big three when it comes to our insurance agencies. I think they're in the same situation as Manulife Financial. However, here's the thing. I'm going to put them just a little bit lower because they don't have that extra exposure to China. So I think they're very, very close. So we'll put them on the line. All right. So SRU. So SRU is Sir Royalty. They are another royalty company. They have done really well in my portfolios. For most of the bear market, they've been in the green for me, and that's fantastic. So they basically have like a chain of fast food that they do, like Jack Astor's is under them, but they have done well, and I think they're going to continue to do well. I would give them a solid. I would like, you know what, because of the fact that they have done so well through the pandemic, I'm going to put them in an A tier. I really do. I really do like them. All right. And you know what? I'm just going to shrink them down and move that right down here just to keep making a little bit more room. We're going to do that with the EQB because we still got stocks to go. All right. There we go. And I'm going to do it with these guys here too, because why not, right? Let's just shrink these up, move them down below. There we go. We have some stuff going on. All right. Now, I'm just going to grab these ones here, drag them up there, and I'm going to bring up TMX, and we'll bring up TFI. There we go. All right. I think that's it. Yeah. That is it for what we have. So let's get through some of these remaining ones. All right, so RY, Royal Bank. So once again, I do love our banks. Royal Bank is not a bad bank. It's actually pretty darn good. But here's the thing. I don't think it is as good as TD. So I kind of see them as being on the line again. So basically between A and B. We also have CIBC, so another bank. Same idea as BNS. They're also good for dividends. I would give them a solid B. We'll just shrink them down a little bit here. Move them in here. Got a lot of banks in the B section here. DE. So DE is Decisive Dividend. They are a company, they basically buy a lot of manufacturing companies. They have a very half decent monthly dividend. They've also had a pretty good history of growth. I know this is this for some people, there's a lot of people in the community who love this stock to death. That's awesome. I do like it. I'm gonna put it up here at A tier. I do like them. I thought about the line, but I'm going to give them A tier for now. It's up to them to keep A tier. Well, let's move them over here like that. All right. CSU, Constellation Software. Another company. It's a tech company. They have done fantastic. The biggest complaint I actually have with CSU is that they haven't done any splits, because their share price is huge. It's like 2,000 plus. So, but they have done well. They provide software. I'm going to shrink them right down here. I do like them a lot. I'm going to give them an A tier. When it comes to Canada's tech companies, this is definitely a good one. They have not faltered, like, for example, Shopify. So I think they're a solid investment, but unless you're using fractional shares, which only really, as far as I know, Wealthsimple may be the only one who does that, it kind of limits your exposure to that. All right. Let's see here. Let's grab TMX. So TMX, they are the company that runs the Toronto Stock Exchange. So you got to like it if you're a Canadian investor for sure. They also do okay. They're not like, it's not like it's the greatest stock in the world, but I would give them definitely a solid C tier. We'll leave it at that for them. All right, what else do we got here? Look at this. We're slowly starting to get through these. Let's go to CGX. So CGX is Cineplex. Cineplex has been doing well this year. Their share has been growing. They've been making profit, but we got a problem. We got a writer's strike and we have a actor's strike. So between the two strikes, they're going to start running out of new content. Now, they do have a plan to start showing older content. They also have a plan to start charging a premium for brand new movies coming out. So they do have a plan to make money. But for now, as much as I love the movie-going experience, I'm going to put them in the D tier. But if the strikes were to end soon, I could easily see them moving up to the C tier. But for now, I think the D tier is kind of a safer bet for them right now. Okay. So SU is Suncor Energy. And once again, they're kind of in that same boat with a lot of the other ones. I think they are a solid B, though. And we'll just shrink them down. There's Suncor Energy. And there we go. Put them in as a solid B. So I certainly like them. And I think they have a lot of potential. And they will certainly do well as when we move into the fall and winter, as energy prices start to go back up. Okay. So TFI, their TFII is what you actually call the company name. So TFI International stock ticker is TFI. Sorry, it's actually their stock ticker. Let me get in here. There is actually TFII. My mistake. So TFII, they've done well. They are a good company. I think they've got a solid track record. I think they're going to succeed really well. So they do a lot of transportation logistics. You can use their services for fleet management as well. So this is definitely, I mean, they're definitely tied into the supply chain in that sense. So they are, yeah, they're a solid A. I'll give them a solid A. All right, that leaves us with QSR, which is Restaurant Brands International. So, and we just did recently a deep dive. So they own Burger King. They also own Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons has done well. I know recently, their last quarter, Tim Hortons actually got $2 billion in profits. So that's huge for them. They've never done that before. So on the power of that, QSR has been doing really, really well. And they are fast food, and I think Tim Hortons will drive things for a while. I will move them up into a B tier. All right. Holy banana bread. There we go. That was the end of those. I'm going to shrink down this TFII just because it makes it look more, well, you know, just more. All right. This is our first ever tier list. This is kind of fun. Yeah, I don't know who came up with the idea, but it was definitely a great idea. I actually seen Brandon Beavis did one recently similar to this, and I thought that was pretty darn cool. Now here's a question, and I'll put this up. I'll do a poll on this. I'll let you guys decide. But if you guys are okay with it, I could perhaps just put this into the Facebook group and let people see the results. They don't get to see all the fun of me deciding and rationalizing, but they could see the results. But it's up to you guys, because you know what? This is part of your exclusive content. If you guys say, no way, then no way, I won't do it. Simple as that. The other thing too, speaking of the Facebook group. So the Facebook group has created a bit of a problem for me. So I can't share news there. So I have been thinking about Discord for a while. So I'm probably looking at setting up a Discord. And what's beautiful about that is we can have sections there that are for community members only. So that way there, you know, if you're a community member, I would have to manually attach your name or put a permission on you to be able to see certain content. We could then have our own little content area as well. So that's just something I am thinking about. All right. I'm loving these. I'm loving the live stream. I just think it's kind of neat because, well, one, heck, I don't have to do a bunch of editing for this. But two, once more of you start piling into these, and once, of course, the membership gets a little bit bigger, we'll be able to have more people in and try to get something interactive going on with this. So I'm looking forward to it. We're, of course, going to do the same thing again in September. Who knows what the topic is? I will start asking you guys for some suggestions really soon. And then we'll get this all going, which will be fun. The only thing I can say is we're not going to do the exact same thing, but we'll do something for sure. All right. Well, anyway, thank you for those of you who are here. I know Joe is, and anybody else who's here. Thank you. And this has been a lot of fun. I kind of enjoyed this one quite a bit. So we will be back again next month. We'll do it all over again. And I'll see you guys, of course, if you're not sick of me, come on back for the live stream on Sunday. We'll see you there. So this is it, guys. Thank you once again, and we'll do this again next month. Take care, everybody.